Welcome in. Today is Monday, September 9th, and I am in the Bay Area for tonight's game between the Niners and Jets. We'll tell you all about that. But first, we have to tell you about the two teams that wore Wolverine helmets who looks like they got mangled by an animal. That animal was not a cheetah because, as you know, the cheetah got caught by the cops.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots.
We're sitting here again. We're sitting here again having to talk about Notre Dame.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
All right, all you sinners. Man, what a weekend. Lots to talk about. Holy bejesus. Jumping Jehoshaphat's NFL. It is I, Adam Reno.
Thank you.
Yeah, as always, joined by Miles behind enemy lines and a Mr. T.I. who is feeling very dejected. We'll get into that. A few teams feeling dejected. And to be honest, in this first NFL weekend game, like, I don't even know where to start. You had teams jump off to an amazing start. You had social media blowing up, and then all of a sudden those teams lose. Of course, the Titans were one of those as they go up 17-0, lay a goose egg up in the second half. You had the Arizona Cardinals look like they were going to run away with it, and then all of a sudden I switched channels on my NFL Red Zone. Every time I switched, Josh Allen was falling into the end zone. I'm like, what is going on? So, Miles, let me start with you. What was the theme for you? We're going to get into college football, NFL, but as football as a whole, was there an overall theme for you after your eyes were glued to football this weekend?
Sloppy. I think overall,
Sloppy Joe.
yeah, college might be weak too, but there's still amateurs out there. Well, I guess not amateurs anymore because they're making all that NIL money, not playing for their teams or their schools anymore. They're playing for themselves. But week one NFL, there was a lot of sloppy play out there. Some great games, some great finishes, especially last night. Fantastic. Two solid teams going at it.
Holy
but
cow.
Man, there were turnovers galore. The rookie quarterbacks look like rookies by and large, and penalties on top of turnovers, on top of dumb, stupid, idiotic, one could say, plays and decisions. And it kind of ticked me off to a point, but at the same time, hey, it's still football. It's still back. We still love it.
Yeah, very sloppy. T.I. was
still
Caleb Williams who you thought he was?
I mean, bro accounted for 2 offensive points, and that's because they went for 2. So, I mean, I was not impressed, but they got the dub, so I guess that's all that matters, right? I mean, will Caleb Williams have a long and productive career? I'm sure he will, but, he looked like a rookie QB to me. He was as advertised. We just didn't get the dub because we didn't show up in the second half. So,
Man.
Caleb Williams didn't earn the win. We gave it to him on a silver platter. So, hey, it is what it is.
And given on a silver platter, we're all thinking of that play where he's about to be sacked and he's like, I feel like George Costanza when he gets called a chucker. You're a chucker. He just chucked it. Like, you're like, that's not an NFL. I'm no Steve Young or Michael Vick or other whatever lefty you want to give out there. But, like, come on, dude. I am not chucking it like that in that situation. Like, I know he's not a rookie. He's young.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he might as well be a rookie. He still hasn't even started 17 games. But there is some shrinkage on that play. Speaking of Costanza, there is some shrinkage on that play. Myself. Speaking of myself.
Were you in the pool?
I went from full extension to like, okay.
You had an innie. You had an innie by the end of it.
Yeah, so I experienced some shrinkage myself on that play. But hey, like Miles says, it's football. It's week one. It's sloppy. I think what hurt so bad is the fact that we were just dominating the game and then just chose to lay an egg the second half. So, but like you said, we weren't the only team. Arizona thought they had it. Jacksonville thought they had it. I mean, Indy thought they had it for a little bit, but I mean, Indy had the misfortune of going up against a divisional opponent week 1, so that's always tough. But still,
right?
We're not the only AFC South team with an L, so Jacksonville fans were super excited. Speaking of social media, I mean, Titans fans were excited on social media. Not talking about me at all. I mean, why would I go on social media and brag and boast before the game is over? I would never do that.
Yeah,
I would never do that. I have learned my lesson. I would never do that. Even though I did it this past weekend. But hey, it's okay. Jacksonville fans, same thing. I mean, they were thought, hey, we're running away with Miami. Tyreek Hill is arrested this morning. We got this in the bag, and I'm just assuming that the police officer that arrested him was going up against him in fantasy football. That's all I can really think of,
Right.
So.
It doesn't make any sense. It's the hometown.
Well, they did release a photo of the arresting officer, and he was a tall white man with long blonde hair. His initials were TL.
That's right. Not to be confused with TI, but TL.
Right.
TL.
Right.
Yes. And not to also be confused with Mac Jones, who will probably be starting by like week 5. But hey, that's neither here nor there.
So let's break all this down and let's go backwards. So we started by saying Sloppy Joe to kind of get started, but let's actually start with Thursday. There was a sloppy toe, and if this toe would have done a 2-step a little bit better, that team likely would have came away with not such a crushing defeat. So that Baltimore,
Deion Sanders would have got that touchdown. Just needed one or two less toes.
Man, right? The amputees, yeah. That's a pretty good joke. But man, that game was honestly really good, fun to watch, back and forth. Here's the thing about Lamar Jackson that I want to see what you guys think. Because we can be called haters, or we can just be called like, hey, we're real fans that really take a look at this. But the throws that he missed, I thought, those are just throws that he misses. Those aren't like, oh, he would have had it next time. Like, no, dude, after so many years of him doing that, I think that's where he's at. That's just Lamar Jackson. He's not going to hit every throw the way that you want him to, but he is going to go for a 38-yard rushing spree on 3rd and 11 that is going to wear you down. And then he'll miss on a 3rd and 17 play where you're like, he scrambled and he just missed a guy open in the end zone, right? Am I hating, or is that what you guys see, T.I.? Like, is that where you're coming from too, or am I a hater?
No, I don't think you're a hater by any means. He is not a primed passer. We get that. I mean, he's an opportunist passer. Sometimes he makes a pass that you're like, okay, hey, this dude is a true, legit NFL quarterback.
He's an NFL quarterback, yeah.
Other times he's late, he's forcing it. But also, to his defense, they look at him every 3rd down as just to make something happen. There is never anything that is guaranteed. There's never like this is the play we're going to run that's going to get us to 6 yards. They're just like, go out there on the playground and make something happen. So to his defense, I think there's way too much pressure on his shoulders, but he doesn't always make the accurate pass. I mean, we saw it there in the end. I think there's a little miscommunication there with, who was it, Bateman? Who I can't remember exactly who the receiver was, but he went a little bit too far. It was underthrown. Even Antonio Brown, not that he makes sound decisions on the line, but he even pointed out that, hey, that's more so on the receiver. So I'm not going to necessarily say that he's at fault, but I do think that they look to him as a superhero. They look to him to put on a cape and make something happen. And he's not always going to do that. Baltimore can expect him to just pull something out of his ass every time they need something, So I'm not coming to his defense by any means, because I'm not a Lamar Jackson super fan, but I do think there's a little bit of, a little bit of too much pressure on him and too many expectations for him to make a play instead of just, well, let's take it back. They gave Derrick Henry 8 carries. I mean, why do you Why do you sign a premier running back? Whether you think he's on the tail end of his career or not, why do you sign him and only give him 8 carries? And he scored a touchdown in the first 5 minutes of the game, and then you just go away from him. It's not like it was a blowout. So I think there was just a lot of I think there was just a lot of week one there. That's all I'm gonna say. A lot of week one, a lot of week one jitters, a lot of week one coaches question themselves, players questioning themselves, questionable decisions, just all across the board. Like we said, sloppy Joes.
Yeah. Miles, what did you think about Saquon Barkley in Philly, and was he the X factor in that game in San Paulo?
He was the ABCD elemental P factor. He was
Game
everything
changer.
he needed to be for Philly. I thought that game would come down to a tush push. Yeah, it was close. They didn't need that though. They didn't need any of that boom boom. He took over the game. First Eagle in his debut to score 3 TDs from scrimmage since a 1 TO. And only the second one overall. So I think Philly showed in a precarious situation, because going down, not just going down 5,000, 6,000 miles to a different continent underneath the world, basically, but playing on a weird turf, because soccer turf, it has a different design.
JJ Watt was talking about that. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that as well, because soccer fields are meant for smaller, more compact players that aren't taking a lot of contact. So when you have much bigger athletes that are trying to cut on a soccer field, it's a lot harder for them to get traction. But in any case, Saquon showed that he is going to put Philly on a different trajectory for this season. I do not foresee Philly now continuing the slump they had at the end of last season. Not to say that they're necessarily a contender. That's fine. They're not. But I think Philly is going to matter for sure this year. And both San Francisco and Detroit has to, keep on their radar, at least in their peripheral vision for now. Say, you got to take Philly seriously again, because Saquon is that big of an impact player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that shoestring tackle, he'd have 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, woo. And speaking of JJ Watt, I saw JJ Watt talking about that. I'm surprised that he even had an opinion because a camera wasn't in his face. Because that guy has never met a camera that he did not want to have sex with. So,
as kettle meet coffee. What is that? Way to call it kettle.
And scene.
Yeah, attaboy T.I. Get in there. So speaking of man, you talk about game wrecker. I was going to ask you guys, did anyone make that much of a difference more than TJ Watt for his team on just a solo performance? I'm going to go with no. I mean, that dude, he even strip sacked and it got called back. And if you look at the replay, he was timing when the center gives his little nod. And if you look at the replay, he might have gotten off the ball quick and not been offside. And on that, they got a turnover. Now they got one anyway because Kirk gonna Kirk. But man, I think TJ Watt, like all by himself, because the Steelers offense, all they did was kick field goals. Whoever has that guy in fantasy, they won their league. They won week 1 because that guy probably scored 89 points for their fantasy team. But dude, TJ Watt is like a man amongst boys. It's not even fair. Miles, did you see the stat line?
Yeah, it was incredible. Now, I do have one individual on the defensive side of the ball that could compete, but it has nothing to do with stats. And Aiden Hutchinson, the amount of penalties he drew in critical situations against the Rams last night was unbelievable. But for actual production that you're going to see in the morning,
that's fair.
Box score on
now who leads
whatever.com.
Yeah. Now
Is
who leads
without
that?
question TJ Watt, no question.
Nick Bosa leads that, except they don't call it. He's like the Shaquille O'Neal factor. Like, it happens every time, and so they don't call it, but
Sure.
it's like, it's unreal. Which, speaking of Aiden Hutchinson, let's shift to college, because the Michigan Wolverines got laughed out of their own house. And it's a pretty big house to get laughed out of. And we knew
Ooh.
Texas was good. We all were like, okay, look out for Texas. They're going to be pretty good. But not one of us can sit here and say we thought they would destroy, where that Michigan touchdown at the end was like a nothing burger. It was like 20-3, 30-3. That was like the main aura of the game.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little college football. Ti, who else were your big winners? How about Nebraska and teams like that?
I mean, the Nebraska win wasn't surprising because we went in hard on Colorado last week, but once again, it's nice to just see that humble pie served. ESPN, is scrambling to find better posts at this point because I mean they're banking on 3 straight weeks of Colorado posts, and it's just like, man, what are you going to say when it's 28-0 at halftime against Nebraska? I mean, is
What you gonna
Nebraska
do,
a
brother?
power? Yeah, I mean, is Nebraska the powerhouse of the 90s? No, not at all. So, like, let's be real about that. Like, other big winners, I mean, obviously, NIU, that was fantastic. We all love to see Notre Dame go down. I know we all collectively will probably go in on Notre Dame, so I don't want to steal that thunder, but that was fun to
Let
watch.
Miles take some of
Anytime,
that energy.
yeah, I mean, anytime you pay somebody 1.4 million to come into your house and
Dude.
wipe their feet all over your couch, and then leave drink rings on your table. I mean, come on, can't be mad at that. So, but yeah, I mean, college football is king. We all saw Alabama struggling towards the end. We saw, a lot of top 25 teams struggling towards the end. I watched my team embarrassingly lose to Cal. It's college football. It is what it is, So. Miles, what about you? Who are some of your big winners and losers from college football Saturday? Oh, look at that! Look at that! He's on cue, right? We didn't even
Once I
plan that.
sat on good old Rocky Top. Holy smokes. And Nico is the real deal Holy Field. They looked fantastic. NC State is not a top 25 team. We knew with what NC State did in week 1, they weren't going to have a chance to win, but 51-10 in Charlotte, essentially a home game for NC State. Tennessee is serious. And Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Alabama, you got company.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now,
I won't disagree.
Ole Miss played Middle Tennessee. Now,
Hey,
in the past,
hey. Let's not go there.
now
Let's
in
not
the
go there.
past, here's what I'll say about Ole Miss. In the past, Ole Miss would win this game 20-10. And so it's like, okay, they're just doing what they would do. But to win 52-3, it's a little bit different. It's like what I equate it to when Boise was Boise back when they were, really good. They were always undefeated going into their last game and then getting a bowl game, whatever. That was the same thing. Like, instead of winning 20-10, they were winning, 52-3, where it makes you think like, okay, is Ole Miss for real? So I'll simply ask you guys, is this that situation, or is it like, no, these teams that they're playing are that bad?
I mean, I think they're for real. I said last week that they were my dark horse to watch. Anytime you're putting up what, almost 80 points and then following it up with nearly 60. I mean, you've got to be on somebody's radar. So I think the SEC has a lot of firepower. Obviously, we talked about Texas. We saw what they did. Is Ole Miss going to sneak up on everybody? I don't know. I mean, at this point, once you're nearly scoring 200 points in 2 games, you're not sneaking up on anybody. But we'll just have to see when conference play rolls around, because as we saw this past Saturday, anybody can win on any given Saturday. So
128-3, 128-3 is the aggregate, if you will. And they play next at Wake Forest, and then Georgia Southern, and then Kentucky. Then it gets real where they have at South Carolina, at LSU, and versus Oklahoma. But there's still another month where they're not playing real college football teams. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see. But 100, yeah, I mean that's pretty good aggregate, as it were.
They're
Hey,
probably
Ti
really
mentioned
angry.
scoring almost. Ti, you mentioned scoring almost 80 points. How about them Hoosiers, baby? How about them Hoosiers
There you
dropping
go.
77? A school.
There you
How
go.
embarrassing is that, really, though, for IU? Sig's second game ever as head coach sets the school record for yards in a game at 701 and points in a game at 77. Like, how in 125 plus years of history, 77 is the most you scored in a game? I still can't believe that. But hey, IU,
Hey.
we actually look like we may make a bowl game this year.
There you go. Miles is running around the house in his underwear, I'm sure. Watching that
Right,
game.
it's
his red
great.
and white, crimson, green.
The candy stripes.
So, all right, so Miles, tell me the city where the coach of NIU who beat Notre Dame. Tell me what high school he hails from and what city.
Okay, you're cutting up on me there, so you got to say that again for me.
So the city where the coach from NIU who got paid the 1.4 million to come into Notre Dame and slap him around. What city? Where did he go to high school? What city?
Is he from Fort Wayne?
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yep, where I live now and
Yeah,
where
Hammock.
Miles is from originally.
Runs deep. Did he go to Harding? What high school did he go to?
He went to a Bishop Luers, your rival, as you went to Bishop
Luers.
Dwenger.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
He was running
that's
back.
right, because Harding. Yeah, that's right. Because Luers Harding, same side of town. They're literally down the street from each other. Harding no longer exists, but that was
the ghetto swallowed it
that
up.
was great for Fort Wayne to say that. Right. Hammock, and I get that confused because Coach Hammock, another Hammock, coached at Harding before. So same, but different. But awesome for the city of Fort Wayne to rep again. A lot of depth. You got Tyler Eifert over there. In Atlanta, they may have laid an egg this week, but still best safety in football, Jesse Bates, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
I'm watching live Atlanta play, and Jesse Bates punches and takes off the helmet of Najee Davenport. I'm like, Jesse, what are you doing? It was in the first half. That's fine.
He was just trying to talk to him, and they couldn't hear him too well, so he took his helmet off. He's like,
hey, I'm trying to tell you about your mom. Like, she's a nice lady. Like,
yeah. Hey, your shoe's untied. Put his helmet back on him.
Najee,
a nice guy,
dude.
Just a nice guy.
Hold on, you have some dirt on you too.
Spoiler alert, I didn't know that Najee Davenport was still playing football, but hey, whatever. Shows how far I've come,
Yeah, I made the mistake his first year of drafting him in my fantasy, and I mean, he was such a beast.
Wait, are we talking about we're talking about Najee Harris, right? Not Najee Davenport, right? We're talking about Najee Harris here. Are we talking? Yeah. Okay, that's why I was totally thrown for a loop there.
All the Najees.
Yeah, who's the running
Najee
back
Harris.
for the
Yeah, that guy. The starting running back who never ever running backs at all. I mean, he just like you said. Once you said I made the mistake of drafting that guy, I was like, yeah, clearly you did not ever draft Najee Davenport. So we're talking about Najee Harris. Yeah,
yes.
And I've made that mistake too. He reminds me a lot of who was the Alabama running back that had one good year, Trent
Richardson.
Trent Richardson. Yeah, everybody's like, oh yeah, he's the second coming of Bo Jackson.
Of Trent Richardson when he got shipped out of the Colts to Oakland, and there's like a sea, the Red Sea parts. It's like this, and he runs to the other way. You're like, I don't know his vision is there.
That guy, yeah, right. I've seen that meme, and it's not just one. It's like 3 or 4 plays they show it. They're like, hey, look, he could have went this way or that way. Instead, he just chose to go this way. And
he tried
you're right.
To do
it's
a
like,
butt
are
fumble
your eyes closed?
Sanchez.
So yeah. But anyway, now that we went off on a tangent of Najee's.
Yeah, That Najee wasn't good. So, okay, who else? Let's see. We had the other Wolverine-looking team. What was up with the New York Football Giants? What were they wearing? It looked like an AAU team from Detroit who was like trying to be cool. They had a GoFundMe page to raise some money to buy these jerseys. They sold candy at the mall to buy these jerseys. That's what those jerseys looked like to me.
This kid's at the gas station with candy bars. It's like, yeah, bro, this ain't going to your team.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just go inside the gas station and buy the same candy bar for less.
If you're gonna play terrible, you might as well look terrible too. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, are they cursed? Are they just cursed? I don't know. Are they cursed until they get rid of Daniel Jones? Well, maybe we need Adriana to answer that question, but still.
Hey, they're about to reach peak Joe Judge.
Yeah,
his tenure. They're about to reach peak Joe Judge.
So,
Straight
just
line.
real quick, we'll get into the stats for the New York Giants. 22 of 42 for 186 yards with 2 picks, and he was sacked 5 times. That is a one Daniel Dimes. And then
Danny Dimes.
Running.
Who is dating Kay Adams? Who's dating Kay Adams? I guess that's where his mind is at. He's preoccupied with his lady.
His mindset should be on handing the ball off more, because the leading rusher, Singletary, only had 37 yards. I mean, that's below.
Or is that Singletary? I mean, it's
which Singletary is it?
He is Devin Singletary. I mean, come on, like,
Now,
I mean, he had some moments, I guess, but let's be real, he's not the bell cow that they probably need. He's not Saquon.
They do not have a single player. I mean, Malik Neighbors had 5 catches for 66 yards, which is not trash, but I mean, that's not going to, turn too many
Better
heads.
than Marvin Harrison, at least.
Well, you drafted him, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. He's on your fantasy team. You're
Screwed, ballooned, and tattooed.
Oh, the Arizona Cardinals, their offense, I'm drafting all their players. You bragged and bragged for 11 minutes, and I'm twiddling my thumbs.
Okay, that's a little over the top.
Yeah, I don't think he said I'm drafting all their players.
I did not say I was going to draft all their players. I still expect Marvin Harrison to have a decent season.
But tell me who else you have. That's not the only Arizona player that you have.
Yes, it is.
You had. I thought you said you had James Conner, and I thought you even had like their tight end.
No,
the guy doesn't have a name.
Yeah, he's so good. No one knows who the Arizona Cardinal tight end is.
You might as well in fantasy football. I mean, what you're going to have the top 5 tight ends produce. Might as well just draft somebody you never heard of and hope he produces.
James Conner is not.
No, that's
trash.
That's a fine play. He'll get you a touchdown a game.
But the New York Giants. You feel good for Sam Darnold to like kind of get out there and like have some success. Success happens when you just when you're a chucker, and Justin Jefferson's out there catching. Like, okay, we talked about chucking it. You can chuck it when it's Justin Jefferson. That dude, makes you look pretty good. But good Lord, the New York Giants score 6 points. Looking across the board, the Carolina Panthers. I texted Wayne. Shout out to Wayne for taking it on the chin. 47.
They scored 10 points.
They did score 10, but they also gave up 47.
Yikes!
Yikes!
Not going to win a lot of games. Not going to win a lot of games.
37. It was 30-0. It was 30-0. Start the game
in the first 5 minutes.
Once again, though, we talked about that a couple weeks ago about the whole Bryce Young, CJ Stroud thing. Like, Panthers fans just have to be sick at this point. I mean, you have to be. Do you have faith that Bryce Young is your guy? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be there.
They need to play the Oompa Loompa music when he comes out of the tunnel before every game.
That's Kyler Murray, I thought, too. And then play the Call of Duty soundtrack as he walks
Call
out.
of Duty. Yeah, I was going to say Call of Duty for him.
Call of Duty, yeah.
Okay.
Kyler was really excited this week because Black Ops 6 was free play all weekend. So
free play. So, all right, here's who screwed the biggest pooch that we have not even broke the seal. We have not talked a lick about. All of us realistically thought that the one New England Patriots could go over. They could pull an 0-17. They were that bad. Well, week 1, we already know that is not happening because Joe Burrow burrowed his way into the most embarrassing loss of his NFL career. How do you lose at home? You lose at home and you score 10 points. Did you see the stats of that game? Unbelievable. What is happening in the NFL? I know it's week 1. I know it's sloppy. But are you giving Cincinnati a pass, Miles?
Well, no, absolutely not. I do have to say one thing. Drake May had the best rookie week 1. He didn't even play of the rookie quarterbacks. Didn't even play. He had the best week 1. He looked great. Cincinnati, to me, it just says they're a mess right now with the whole drama with Jamar Chase. Sure, they aren't the only team, but it's the most prolonged one. And the fact that he stepped out on the field without even having the deal done.
6 catches,
That's
62 yards.
what everyone's discussing going week 1. Not, hey, they're going to go worst to first, not that they're going to be the team that they were 3 years ago or even just 2 seasons ago when they're in the AFC Championship or in the Super Bowl. They were a disaster. And it's because of things like that happened this week.
They had 13 first downs.
Great distraction from the implosion that Tennessee had yesterday, excuse me.
I mean, yeah. Speaking of Bengals, I mean, maybe obviously Jamar Chase, that's a distraction. We get that. He wants to be paid $1 more than Justin Jefferson. I know that's comedic, but let's be real. Like, come on, bro. Just let's get this stuff done. Are they missing Brian Callahan? I would probably say so. I mean, they're trying to find their identity now on offense. Like, he has been at the helm for what, 5-6 seasons in Cincinnati? I don't know, maybe longer. So, they've probably got some internal struggles there. I mean, Joe Burrow, we saw last year starting with the injury, trying to play through it, then ending the season. I mean, he's got some issues as well. We don't really know how deep those team issues go, but I think Cincinnati is they're panicking week 1. They didn't see that coming. I mean, their fans did not see that coming. Maybe their coaching staff did, but their fans did not. Yeah, we didn't see it coming. Is it time for Joe Burrow fans to panic? I don't think so. He's still Joe Burrow, but they got a lot of things to work on here in the next couple of weeks. And they let's be real. They have Jamar Chase, who's unhappy. They have T. Higgins, who's unhappy. I mean, you don't want unhappy divas who are supposed to be catching the football.
Tyler Boyd. They don't have Joe Mixon anymore. Was mentioned. So
yeah, dude, that's a lot of unhappy divas that don't have the football in their hands. So we'll see.
Bad news for the Bengals. You cannot lose to the Patriots at home when everyone is just even people in Boston know that like this is not going to be a year to get hype over. They just do. So yikes, don't give Boston something to celebrate. I don't want to hear it. Like, oh gosh, now we have to hear about, oh no, we're really going to be good now. No, you're still going to have a losing record, but good Lord. Definitely all bad. That the Cincinnati Bengals almost qualify for your idiot of the week. But Miles is going to tell you actually
almost.
Yeah, almost. Hang tight.
Almost.
Miles,
it's tough to win that honor this week. I mean, there's some key idiots out there.
So Miles, bring that part to us.
All right, boys and girls, hide your moms, hide your dads, and hide your college football playoff brackets, because this is Idiot of the Week. No shocker here. We've already talked about it a bit. We have to talk about Notre Dame again. Embarrassing, that is not even the right word. Humiliating, disappointing, and not even a Notre Dame fan, and I'm disappointed. You just feel like you were conned as someone that's, their schedule's trash. They're going to run the table. They took care of Texas A&M, who apparently must be horrible now. they're going to cakewalk these MAC schools that they have this laundry list that they get to play against this season, and they can't even beat a one Northern Illinois, who Ti mentioned paid $1.4 million to come into Notre Dame Stadium and ruin their season.
Unbelievable.
Pathetic.
How many
Embarrassing,
points?
hilarious.
When you score how many points at home? 14? 14 points.
14.
I mean, passing.
What was the spread? What were the dogs? I mean, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns.
Who the hell knows? No one even looked it up because it was so irrelevant, everyone thought.
Right.
No one knows.
Right. Yeah, nobody saw that coming.
So
nobody saw
that
coming. Yeah.
It was 28 and a half.
Oh God.
Who's even putting money on that? Like, whatever, the games, they could win by 30, they could win by 25 because, they'll put their scrubs in the end. NIU might get a couple of garbage touchdowns. Who cares? And now it's really irrelevant because they lost their ass.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard, 163 yards passing. That's it. 2 interceptions. No one had more than 79 yards rushing. Love had that. He did okay. No one had more than 45 yards receiving. They just did not have it. And I think, I made fun of Notre Dame fans before when they lost at home to Marshall, but they were like, oh, he's just getting started coaching. He's still learning he's going to be good. He's going to be good. How long are you able to say he's going to be good when you keep losing and showing you're not good? Like, at what point do you call for his head? I mean, or do you give him this full year?
Time's up, Marcus Freeman. I mean, he's going to get the season, but if they lay another egg, they play Central Michigan or so. They have Miami of Ohio. They've got 2 MAC schools on their schedule. It's how embarrassing their schedule is this year.
That's another thing, yeah.
Now suddenly Louisville at home looks like an insurmountable game. Georgia Tech on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I can't wait for the patty cake Florida State Notre Dame game.
Purdue is next week.
Are they that bad Purdue sucks.
I know.
My God, that might actually be competitive now because Northern Illinois is better than Purdue for sure. But God, it's now the old, because there were so many times in the past where Notre Dame played Purdue and it's, Notre Dame will take care of business. And then they played games that were way too close for comfort where they'd lose it. So old rivalry renewed. Purdue is smelling blood in the water.
Yeah.
Sure. Notre Dame fans are clamoring for Brian Kelly. They wish he would just come back.
Hey, and Purdue is bad, but we talked about when teams only win 20-10 against other bad teams. Purdue, let's remember, 49-0 against the bad team that they played.
Horrible.
I know, but Purdue, in Purdue fashion, would only win 20-10, and they won 49-0. So I'm just saying.
We got to talk about the Indiana Hoosiers, man. No, I know, I get it. But Purdue is going to win 3, well, maybe now 4 games this year because they do get Notre Dame. So
you mentioned Miami, Ohio, Louisville, Stanford, at Georgia Tech, at Navy, against Florida State, against Virginia, Army, and then at USC. There's 5 losses there, maybe.
Who the hell knows?
The way that they're playing.
I don't know about you guys. I can't wait for that Florida State Notre Dame matchup.
Oh my gosh. Pillow fight.
Yeah, it'll be really, really bad.
If Florida State's quarterback is not fully entrenched in LinkedIn at that point, because, oh man, what is that guy doing?
So
I know he's a kid. I hate harping on a kid, but man, he does not look like he is fit for the bill.
Yeah.
Who was a higher rated recruit than a 1 CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I saw that. Ooh, and it was back up to Trevor Lawrence for a minute too, and Clemson. Like, ooh, yeah,
unreal. That's the way it goes. I mean, football, man. We love. I think one of the reasons why we love football is it's so based off of not just like one or two guys. You can't just have a Steph Curry all of a sudden score 60 and you're like, holy cow, the other players on that team didn't do much, but you had, yes, we talked about like a TJ Watt making an unreal game and Aiden Hutchinson doing things and, but overall, you look at the teams that performed well, they had multiple facets go well. It wasn't one guy who scored 6 freaking touchdowns. It just didn't go that way. And it typically won't go that way. It's a big deal if someone gets 6 touchdowns. We're talking about it for 2 straight weeks, but that didn't happen to a single player this week, college or NFL. And I think that's why we like it. And so looking forward to week 2 of the NFL and what is it, week 3 for college, right?
Well, speaking of looking forward, Adam, aren't you looking forward to Monday night? You are going to be there in attendance.
You're way far from over.
Yep. So I am here right now. I'm my godfather made me an offer I couldn't refuse. Yes,
yeah, what am I talking about tonight? What am I talking about tonight?
Yeah. I'm staying with my godparents. I grew up kind of in this house. And so, of course, I brought the flag with me. So I have the Sports Idiot Nation flag. I packed that with me. Got back from Vegas, got settled. And then the second part of the vacay, came here to the Bay Area. Totally excited for the game. Man, what's tough is I was talking about this with Johnny Dell, who runs a 49er channel that I do a podcast with, and we're actually going to have him on this very show and talk a little more NFL. But the thing that he mentioned was that we don't have film on the Jets offense because you can say, well, just look at last year. Dude, that was not Aaron Rodgers running that offense. And so when you have a guy who, first of all, I don't like Aaron Rodgers, so anything that I say nice about Aaron Rodgers is going to be legit fact. He is a very good play action passer when he knows how to sell it. And so Zach Wilson is not selling a play action as well as Aaron Rodgers. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is when he does that play action, guess who has the ball? It ain't Zach Wilson. It's Aaron Rodgers throwing that thing. So when we look at the offense for the Jets last year, you have to throw that tape out the window. And so what I'm excited to see is, without knowing that offense really, what does our defense do? And how do we handle that offense? And then on the flip side, Robert Saleh is the coach and he's the defensive guy, and he knows our scheme. Now, he doesn't know McCaffrey as well and Brock Purdy because they were not there when he was a defensive coordinator. But he knows Shanahan, and he knows what our tendencies are and what he likes to do with the zone read and blocking and schemes and all that. So that'll be interesting because you do have to give it up to the Jets defense. That is a solid, formidable defense. So I'm like, ooh, It's a double chess match. It's our offense with that good defense, but it's also our defense not knowing their offense. Even the Jets fans don't know their offense because he played a half a snap of preseason, right? So it's like, dude, this is really exciting to see what's going to happen. And you talk about sloppy Joes out there.
Yeah.
Like, both teams, we're going to come and we're going to see a lot of sloppiness where it's like, you chalk it up to week 1. Now, I'm sitting in the 3rd row on the 20-yard line behind our bench. So I'll see a lot of sloppiness.
Well, and also,
So I think
go ahead, Miles.
No, I think what the Niners need to do just to ensure that they're going to be all right tonight is get in contact with the Santa Clara Police Department and have them pull over the Jets team bus and just have them arrest the entire team.
Breathalyzer. There's going to be a couple of them drunk. They're Jets. Let's be real. No, let's just to piggyback on the Aaron Rodgers thing. Also, too, we have another factor at play, and Aaron Rodgers with vengeance on the mind. You know, there's a reason why the dude dresses up as John Wick as Halloween, for Halloween. He is a very lethal quarterback. He can make every throw on the field from any spot. We've seen him make multiple, even Hail Mary touchdowns that look like just drawn up plays to a T. So you got that factor where it's like, okay, the whole entire media clowned on the guy all off season. From his injury to his personal decisions to his trips to his extracurricular activities. Aaron Rodgers was the butt of so many people's jokes. Let's be real. That guy, I mean, he doesn't get along with his family. The only people that like him are his current teammates. That guy is going to come out ready to play. Does that mean that that's going to translate to success on the field? I don't know. Really, it's going to be how far the Jets defense takes him. But I don't want to bet against Aaron Rodgers. To me, I mean, he's one of the most pure passers that's ever played the game. And if he has a chip on his shoulder, that's a scary dude to go against.
Right.
I mean, you know, so we'll see what you get there. But I for one am excited to watch. I mean, you know, Niners Jets to end the first week of football. But to piggyback back on the sloppiness, one thing we didn't really discuss is we did talk about that field in the Brazil game and how terrible it was. But one thing that I found interesting is that a lot of Packers fans really found a lot of joy in Aaron Rodgers going down injury last year. And then to see that happen with Jordan Love, the way it happened, granted, it looks like that he escaped a season-ending injury, but still he's out for 5-6 weeks. Like, I just felt like that was a little bit of kind of humble pie there. So kind of be interesting to see how this whole season plays out for Aaron Rodgers, because I think that he's going to come back as a monster. I think he's going to come back, maybe, you know, put up a good season. I don't know. How many years does he have left? I'm going out on a limb and saying that this is his final year. I think he hangs it up. And
Wow.
if that is in his head, I think that he is going to go out with a bang every single game. And well, there's one team that he loves to finally beat is the Niners. I mean, let's be real. You know for a fact how many times has he
Absolutely.
lost to the Niners? They didn't draft him. That was his team as a kid. The hometown kid. They didn't draft him. Like, he's got a chip on his shoulder when it comes to the Niners, and he's got a chip on his shoulder from the injury. So it's going to be a fun game to watch.
Yeah. Very, very fun way to, like you said, end week one, to have Niners Jets, not even being a homer, as I'm back home to see the 49ers, my favorite team. Just saying, as an NFL fan, holy cow, Niners Jets, when you look at, again, the Niners offense versus the Jets defense, the Jets were the first team to beat the Eagles last year. Before the Eagles went off a cliff and they were undefeated, they were like 6-0, 8-0, whatever it was, and the Jets beat them without Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that was incredible. So it's like the defense is formidable. The offense has some weapons, and the biggest one they didn't have last year because he was hurt in the first 19 seconds of the game. Now he's ready to go, back with a vengeance, back like John Wick, like you said. It's going to be so fun just to be a part of that. One thing that we're happy that you're a part of is all of you who are subscribing. Holy cow. We the three of us cannot fathom what is happening, but if you take a look at our channel, you'll see that it's well over 1,200 subscribers. And so what we want you to do is take your phone and show to your friends, hey, this is a funny channel. They talk about sports, pop culture, everything in between, and tell them to hit the subscribe button. We really want to boost this thing. We want to work with other content creators. And the way that we do that, the likes and the subscribes really help the channel out. So follow us on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, all that stuff. Of course, we post a lot there as well. But on the YouTube side, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button and that you're sharing. Just go up to some of your buddies. Hey, check out these idiots. You know, we're going to be working with a lot more content creators. You've seen people like Adriana. She's cool as hell, even though it's going to be a rough year for her. We'll just be honest, right? I mean, she was all gung-ho about the Giants, but let's be realistic, Adriana. Like, you got some tough sledding. But we're going to have her back on. Again, we're going to have Johnny Dell on soon. Wayne's going to be a part of this. We're talking to other people as well. So make sure you like and follow, subscribe. The last thing I wanted to bring up was chlamydia. That's a good I mean, that's a pretty good segue. How I just went from
No, I don't like it. I don't like chlamydia.
Everybody loves chlamydia, right?
like now to now. I went from here to Miles. You know why I brought up chlamydia, right?
Yeah, of course. Ollie Gordon, the second, stud running back, dark horse Heisman contender, who steamrolled this last week in Arkansas, including had the game-winning touchdown, or at least the go-ahead touchdown in overtime that ended up being the game winner. A parody account for Arkansas, the Hogs Pods or Prods or whatever it was, put that Ollie Gordon was out for the game due to chlamydia. And people are like, oh, is this real? Why are they announcing that he's out due to chlamydia? It's like, no, you moron.
All
you
his
idiot.
ex-girlfriends.
This is obviously an Arkansas account, so they're going to say anything they want. Now, the joke came back on Arkansas because Ollie Gordon ran all over them and ended up winning the game for the Pokes. So when I saw that, I was dying laughing. I sent it right over to T.I. I was like, dude, you got to post this. And that thing blew up a little bit on our Facebook page, had a bunch of shares, bunch of likes, bunch of comments, just to put like, you're out. You see that all the time. It's chlamydia.
Everybody loves a good chlamydia story. Come on, man. Everybody loves a good chlamydia
and
story.
everyone loves a good segue. Like that was like chef's kiss, the way I segued that. There's no better way to do that. I was like, well, let's just shift gears.
Spoiler alert, next week we're talking about herpes.
No, I think we're going to be talking about Tyreek Hill's arraignment is where we're going next week.
Ooh, right, if we can catch up to him. That dude fast.
I wonder how he broke the news to all 11 of his children, you know. Dude, did he make one group call? Or did he call all 11 like, hey guys,
think of Gus
he hops
Johnson.
on a Zoom chat. That's how he talks to his kids, on Zoom.
Zoom. Dude, I think of Gus Johnson, who calls on like video games, and the call is always, he's got get away from the cop speed. And it's like, well, he does and he doesn't. Like, he can outrun any NFL player, but when it comes to the cops.
Yeah, current Chiefs or former Chiefs, they like to evade the police.
Yeah, that is.
Speaking
so
of Rashee Rice, I mean, isn't this dude facing like 6 felonies or something? Like, how is he on the field? I mean, is it because he's a Chief? Let's be real. Is it because he's a Chief?
Right. The NFL script.
Well, they don't have Kadarius Toney anymore, so they need someone out there.
They don't have old cement fingers out there.
The stone fingers. So, hey, and also to let you know about the channel, we go every Monday and Thursday. This Thursday, we're going to do a tribute to 9/11 as that's coming up this week. So stay tuned for that. Again, remember to hit the notification bell so that you can get notified when we drop our new episodes. But we come to you every Monday and Thursday. As we mentioned before, one of the tweets or Facebook posts got a lot of traction. Make sure you follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Like Wayne said last week, we'll send a pigeon to your house and it'll give you all of the funny memes. T.I. will make up a few memes and then he'll like give it to the pigeon, and then you type in your address and it like beep pop beep boop and will go right, and you'll see, oh, these funny memes, they're outdated, they're 9 days old, because that's how long it took the pigeon to get there.
Does the pigeon have a computer attached? Because the beep boops, right. I'm kind of confused. Is this a digital pigeon? I mean, I'm kind of confused.
Well, no, it's attached to his leg. It's like a little can. You know, like when you go to the bank and you get it out of the teller and you like open it and you put your check or your money in.
It's like an ankle bracelet.
Like mini. But mini version, and then there's like a little red dot that's GPS tracking.
No, correct. He's not from Florida because he is leaving his porch. He's not from Florida. Florida people can't. Yeah, they can't really leave their porch. Shout out to our Jacksonville fans.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we will see you this Thursday. Again, be sure to like and subscribe. And, of course, we're on Apple and Spotify as well for Miles Behind Enemy Lines and Mr. T.I., Mr. 30,000. We will see you Thursday.
Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.